All right, hey guys, what's up? Welcome to TGVGR. It's the first show of the season. Yeah,
End of the new year.
end of the new year.
Hooray. Personally,
Hooray.
I think 2019 can suck it, but hey, it's supposed to be positive. Yay.
Well, I hope all of you guys had a really good holiday. I know I did. And even though it might not sound like it, we're actually really glad to be back on the podcast chatting with you people today. So you'll have to forgive us. I think we're both kind of sick at this point, like as far as like stuffy, cold, just nasty weather stuff.
I guess. And he wasn't tired until he heard me yawn 12 times in a row, so apparently I'm very yawny today, and I'm spreading it like a virus.
Yeah, prior to going live, we're hanging out in Discord and I'm fine, and then she just keeps yawning and yawning. And
Hi.
it started making me yawn, and before you know it, now I'm tired.
Ew.
So, I guess we have quite a bit we could talk about today. Where do you want
Whole
to
bunch
start?
of muddled.
Where do you want to start, though?
Ah. Well, I guess we could say resolution crap, but I mean, technically we didn't have any, but our resolution was to add more backlog,
Oh, yeah,
and we did.
apparently. And so, for those of you that don't know exactly what we mean by that, we mean as in we already had too many games to play, and then we decided to continue to add more to them before finishing or even trying to play any of the others.
Yeah.
Thanks to uh, Little Miss
Too
Grave.
many after Christmas and New Year sales, my God.
And thanks to Little Miss Gravehonor there, I ended up with like 7 new PlayStation 4 games for Christmas.
Sales.
And then I impulse bought a ton more on my own. And lucky for her, she got a bunch of stuff for Christmas. And then her birthday was right around the same time. So she got even more games. And then
I just bought some digital games on the Switch the other night, so now it's even more.
and then last night I went on a binge purchase on Steam. So all in all, I think we added at least 30 more games to each of our libraries. I would say at least 30, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of games.
What is wrong with us?
I don't know. I know with me, I mostly like having the physical copies, mostly because it's like I do try and do research on the games, but sometimes there'll be something about the game that makes it too difficult for me, or I just don't like it, or some stupid thing. So I think that, well, if I've had my fill on it and I'm absolutely sure I can return it for some kind of money, not a lot, of course, but at least the option is there instead of forever staying in my digital library and I hate it and I can't get rid of it, you know?
Sure.
But
Well,
it still adds up either way. Running out of room with physical, and then digital specific games come out and stuff. Cause I'm probably yawning because one of the new games I bought digitally I actually already owned on Steam called Cattails. You just pretty much play a cat and it's cute. Um, I already had it on the Steam like I said, but just because they had it on the Switch and I had the brilliant idea that I could play it in bed if I had it on the Switch, I was up until 3 in the morning being a cat.
3 in the morning. So
Yay.
now, of course, she got games that made me jealous because she has a Switch, I don't, and she got Octopath Traveler, and I've been wanting to play that game myself. So, but she was nice enough to not play it in front of me.
I was so close though. You got
Uh,
to see Eevee though.
that's right, and I was gonna ask because being that you come from that Pokemon background, community gamer, Pokemon person, um, and you heard all the grumblings about what people were saying about let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu. And now that you've actually had a chance to play it, like what do you think of it?
I think it's adorable and I'm fine with it. Like, it didn't exactly play out like I thought it would. Just because they said, oh, you're not gonna have to use candies to level up your Pokemon and stuff. But actually, after finally playing it, the candies do come into play. Like, you do still kind of use Pokemon Go, catch extras, go to the professor for candies, but you don't need them to evolve because your Pokemon gain experience when you catch Pokemon, and if you do really well, like with an excellent throw or that really fancy co-op rainbow throw thing, which is actually really satisfying when you can pull it off. You manage to do it like 2 times. You'll get like bonus experience to level up faster, and they do have also traditional Pokemon battles, probably to ease Pokemon Go players into trying out maybe their core series. But anyway, the candies, they're kind of like the proteins and the calciums you used to give to the Pokemon in the main series. Those things used to beef up HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed, their stats. And depending which Pokemon candy you gave them, it would depend which stat they would give. So it's like, unless you want that stat, you might have a whole bunch of Pokemon candies that don't really help you out like right now, or ones you don't want. So that's definitely a different take on it. And of course, I love having Pikachu or Eevee following you around or on your hat and stuff.
Yeah,
I think I only stopped. I didn't get very far in it. I think I stopped because I was battling a ton of trainers on the SS Anne, grinding for money so I can get more Pokeballs to power up my team more. And also something that's different is that you actually get gifted a couple times if you can do like small quests of sorts. Certain Pokemon, like for example, in that town where the SS Anne is, I already forget. I'm really out of it. Shame on me. If you caught like 5 Meowths or something insignificant sounding like that, an NPC trainer will just give you an Arcanine that you can ride, so that you can see that, Pokemon you can make follow behind you, or certain ones, if they're big enough, can be as mounts, which is really cool. I spent like 10 minutes just running around on the Arcanine because it was really cool. And also, just because it's an evolution Pokemon that you have doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be super powerful. Because I used it in battle and I actually struggled a bit. So, in a way, that's good. So you don't have like an Arcanine, just bulldozing through everything. That would be a bit odd since they gave it to you so early on. But also, it means that you could probably put whatever weak Pokemon on your team or ones that are perceived as weak. And as long as you give them enough candies or attention, they'll probably do fine, even if you can't evolve them. I have yet to get far enough to see, but I did catch a Vulpix, and now it's on my team instead of the Arcanine because I think Vulpix is way cuter than Arcanine.
Well, also like in the different battles and stuff, like you can have a second player, like a second player jump in and they use your Pokemon, but
it would just make it into a double battle. And sometimes it might seem like an odd too easy mode, like if you're fighting a single player trainer NPC and you call for your friend, which you can do before or during the fight, I believe. I think you did. It might make it seem like too easy because you're ganging up on one Pokemon, but there are some trainers there, like coach trainers or something, and they're tougher than the average trainer. They usually don't have as many Pokemon, but they're higher in level, and I think they've been beefed up with candy because they hit hard and they're hard to defeat. So if you need a little bit extra help, it's cool to be able to have a friend and just, even if they don't know anything about Pokemon, it's like, just do this move and do that, and they kind of help you out pretty much.
Sure. And I would imagine that, even as a single player, if you're battling a single guy or whatever, and then you feel like you might be a little bit too tough for you, you could always put that controller in your other hand and swing it down and multi-join your own battle.
Probably multiplayer with yourself, but either way, even though you have the option to like double team one Pokemon, if all of your Pokemon are weak in that double battle, they're still gonna go down. So you still gotta train up.
Yeah, sure. So,
because this one coach trainer had a Machop that used submission, and God, I hate that move early on because it does damage equal to the user's level. And it was like level 20 or something, and 20 HP of damage is quite a lot for that early on, so that was really annoying to try and beat.
Yeah, I can imagine. Man,
well, not submission, seismic toss. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm so out of the Pokemon loop, and I miss it. I want to get back into it. So I'll be looking forward to picking up a Switch at some point, and that'll probably be one of the first games that I buy. But
along with Octopath.
Yeah, definitely. And probably as much as bad as it sounds, because I'm probably gonna do it all at once, like I always do. I just kind of bulk buy everything at one time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably go ahead and get that Elgato capture card so that I will be able to stream directly from the Twitch to, or from the Switch to Twitch. God, that's complicated. From the Switch to Twitch. I catch myself doing that all the time. Like every once in a while, I want to call the Switch Twitch, like, hey, have you played your Twitch lately or whatever? But I'm gonna get the capture card so that I can actually, and not just, you know, from the Switch itself, but I could also hook up the PS4 to it. Even though the PS4 does stream itself, you're kind of limited on the settings for like what the stream's going to look like with graphics and stuff. So if I can capture it through that capture card and run it through OBS and use my PC to really kind of beef that up, I think that would be cool. But I'm more excited about being able to hook up older consoles to it. Like I can finally, you know, I can bust back out the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, or I think even the original Xbox and GameCubes have connectors where you can, you have to kind of piece them together, but eventually you can get that HDMI connection for going in. But it just opens up a whole new door for stream material. And I've been using that as an excuse every time I buy a game. I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's just stream material, right? I mean, that's a good that's a good excuse. I mean, let's face it. Every game that I own, minus I would say like probably Destiny and Star Wars Battlefront on the PlayStation 4. Just because they're older, they came out when the console came out, and everybody that's wanted to see those has seen them. But I pretty much think, really and truly believe that every game that I own is a really good stream material game. Excuse me. I even picked up Stardew Valley for the PS4. Don't know why. Have it for the computer. But I started thinking, I was like, man, you know, I'm not bragging or anything. I have a fairly large TV in my room, and I started thinking, what, even though it's pixel art stuff, like what Stardew Valley might look like on a huge TV, like big farm glory.
Big screen farm zone. Speaking of big TVs, I think I saw a post on Facebook being shared saying that there's going to be a newer, biggest TV ever called like the wall TV. It will really just be like having a movie theater size TV on your wall. Yeah. And someone said, can someone give me the wall too? I want to have it big enough.
Yeah, it's called the wall. It's like 270 inches.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. Like, I go to think about that because as cool as it sounds, right? If you're a gamer and you've ever really tried to play video games on an extremely large TV, or like we used to have like a theater projector, so we had a 120-inch screen, and when you hook your games up to something that size, it's actually super hard to play because everything is so big. And so like if you're doing, I don't know, for instance, say like a Star Wars game where you're racing through space and you literally have to turn your head to look side to side because you can't see the entire screen within your, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's not like VR. At least VR, you're constantly looking at the game, but this is just because the screen is so large, you can't see the whole thing at once. And it makes it super hard to play games on. But I always think like, when I got this bigger TV in my room, and my room's fairly small, so at nighttime, the very first time I hooked it up and turned this TV on, it was the light coming from the TV was so bright that it was, yeah, it like lit the whole room up. So I could only imagine one that was, you know, 270 inches. But on the show How I Met Your Mother, that's what Barney, the character Barney, had when he brought them all up to his apartment, and they were like, Barney, where's your TV? And he points to the wall. And when he turns it on, it's so bright it blows everybody out. Like you can't see it. Like it was literally the entire wall. And that's what I thought of as soon as I saw that advertisement. But on the real, like for those of you who are in the market for a good sized TV, I think it was like 55 inches, has Roku and all that built into it. Like, we saw them at Best Buy over the holidays, like
for like 300 or less.
Yeah, one of them was like $249, and the other one I think was $349. And then the one that was $349, the next time we went in was marked down to $299. They look like
God, it was so tempting.
Yeah, they were made by Sharp, so it was a a name brand company. It wasn't like a a Westinghouse or something. But if you're in the market for a TV, now's a good time, because everybody, and these are 4K TVs. Well, one of them was 4K and one of them was standard.
HD.
Right. The standard one was the cheaper one, obviously, but still getting a
smart TV with Roku built in for like $300 is super cheap for that size.
Yeah, and honestly, television prices will get a little bit cheaper just because everybody
4K.
is starting to move towards 4K. So all those HD TVs are going to be super cheap. And for people like me, that's not really all I care about. Like, I don't really need 4K. I don't watch enough TV to make 4K worth it. And yes, I know there's 4K gaming and all that, but
I find it pointless still.
I mean, it's got its benefits, and I'm not going to downplay it, because I'm actually working on a video for YouTube where I talk about switching from 1080p to 4K for film purposes, and so I talk a little bit about it in that video, but I'm still working on editing that together. But I recorded the dialogue for it, which is why I have my nice new shiny microphone hooked up and hopefully sounding all juicy and buttery today.
I don't know if you'd want to sound juicy. It sounds like you'd be sick. But it does sound very clear.
Well, as long as it's nice and buttery and smooth. I feel like I just
want those rolls. Why would you do that?
I feel like I want to just sit here,
eat everything.
I want to sit here in front of the mic and just start doing voice impressions or something, just because of the quality of it. So, but I'm not gonna do the British narrator narrating his Fortnite experience.
That was funny.
That's hilarious.
The only reason why I would watch Fortnite.
Well, watching those videos has definitely showed me that Fortnite is basically only 12 to 14-year-old kids playing that game.
Like, before we would say that,
Are you there?
Dang it, it cut out.
Yeah, you got real staticky, and then it just kind of...
It's weird because I have it plugged in. But anyway, we would only say that because that was like the joke, that's what everyone else was saying. But we probably didn't have much proof until we watched that video, because the people he would interact with they had the voice of, 12-year-olds. They were young kids.
Yeah, they were all young, and for some reason most of them were, it's like young kids that were also very toxic. I mean, you could hear, even though they knew everything was a joke, most of the time we're like calling him names or, just having something. You'll never catch me on Fortnite. Fight me.
It's a shame that kids so young are being exposed to a toxic community so early.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's bound to happen, but that game, no thanks. It doesn't even look fun. Like, when I watch it, it's like, okay, it's a survival game. You run around and you throw some wood pallets down while shooting people. That's fun. Speaking of fun, my Spyro Reignited trilogy came in the mail.
Nice.
To add to my current backlog. And
even I did stream it a couple times just to show you, because I was like, oh my gosh, look at this Spyro goodness. And then it's still, even though the stream did pretty well, because I tried to up the quality a little bit and see if there's any dips, it's not the same until you see it in person. And even he agrees, even though we don't have a fancy TV or anything, just like a basic flat screen.
Yeah, seeing it in person was a whole lot different. Like, seeing it on the stream, it looked good, but what people have to realize about streaming is it's going through and being encoded and re-encoded, and so it's a little bit lower resolution, a little pixelated here and there, and you don't really see, even at 1080 on a stream, you're just not going to see what the person is actually seeing as they play the game. And I said that about Red Dead Redemption, which is absolutely true, which kind of makes me wish I know you're not really interested in Red Dead Redemption, but it kind of makes me wish I had brought Red Dead with me just so you could see what that game looked like in person. But when I saw Spyro in person compared to the stream, it was like watching VHS and going to Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge difference. So and
I still gotta continue that.
And you've been.
I do like about that game is I can stop any time and continue without really losing anything. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and you've been on a mission here lately where you're trying to convert people into becoming Spyro fans.
Sort of. that was just because I guess I had mentioned it in a conversation to a friend, and they were like, "Oh, I've always wanted to try them, but I never got around to it." And they were talking about the original ones, and I'm like, I still have all 3 originals and the HD remake. I will convert you if you come over. Or, I'd probably not in that way because it would scare them away, but, inviting them.
Right. It's like you're recruiting people for the Spyro cult.
I think I even used that as a joke, and they went along with it and said something like, well, they were curious enough to dip into it, and they do want to get it eventually, but they didn't drink the Kool-Aid yet.
Right. Now,
I don't really get that joke, but I assume there's something in the Kool-Aid.
Now, every once in a while, I don't know if it's actually your connection or whatever, but it sounds like there's a lot of static or something dragging across the floor or something. It just sounds weird. But it doesn't do it all the time, but it is doing it every once in a while when you're talking.
It might just be the quality of my mic and my wires, because I have to cram it into the small cabinet. If I'm sure that the PlayStation 4 headset I got to use the brief streaming could do the computer, maybe I'll switch to that one. I'd have to check.
Yeah, I don't know if they do, because I don't think my PlayStation 4 headset worked when I plugged it in. Only the headphones part worked, but not the microphone. We'll have to look into, I'll look into what it'll take to get you like one of those USB mics, like one of the little Yeti mics. They actually had the Yeti Snowball mic on sale for like $35, which was a great deal, and that's like a real high quality microphone. So we can look into that kind of stuff in the future. But I figure we should have at least 10, 15 listeners for that to happen. How about that? We get 15 people in here, we'll get a new microphone. How about that?
I mean, I don't know what kind of noise it is because I can't hear from my end, but I do know my computer's being oddly loud today. So if it's like a humming, it might be the computer.
No, it sounds more like a scraping sound, like if a plastic bag was being dragged across the floor or something.
Huh.
So it's probably just like the static or hiss or whatever just in the connection, but that's Discord for you.
Couple times though it was fine, so I'm feeling that just the wires in my microphone are just starting to get loose or something.
Yeah. Plus, I noticed through the holidays and stuff, like you guys' internet was kind of like up and down with the quality of signal.
Yeah, internet has been really crappy this winter. Like, does the weather affect internet that bad, or are we getting screwed more out of our money?
I mean, sometimes I would say yes, just because I know our internet will either go out or be extremely slow when it rains a lot. And I think it has, I don't know exactly what the weather has to do with that, or if it's just a bunch of bored people are in and they're just bogging the internet down or what, but I do notice a significant difference. So
I guess for here, the cold affects it.
Yeah.
It's been like 20 degrees, but feels like 10 or something the past few days.
Yeah, I can vouch. I can vouch for what it felt like while I was there.
I saw someone wearing shorts.
And it wasn't me. That's the thing. Somebody else was wearing shorts when it was 12 degrees, when I actually finally decided, you know what, I'm going to just put some pants on because it is cold as balls. And it wasn't even that it was that cold. It was just, I mean, it was cold, but like the wind blowing hurt. It felt like getting hit by shards of glass. And we decided to go to the grocery store, and lo and behold, this guy gets out the car. He's wearing shorts. And of course, that's the first thing I point out because I thought I was the only one that did that. And, it was on a day where even I wouldn't have worn shorts probably. So, yeah, interesting. But on to some new news. For those that have not heard about it, I did find out that my time at Porsche is now, or Portia, or whatever you want to call it, however fancy you want to be, is now out of early access. Now I have no idea if that means they fixed all those crashing bugs or finished doing the voice acting. There was a lot. The last time I played it, there was a lot of stuff still missing and broken with the game, but I saw it is out of early access. So any of you guys that were interested in it, you might want to go check it out.
And also, I believe it's getting ported to the Switch at some point. It could be for the PlayStation 4 as well, but I don't remember. I just do remember the Switch.
Yeah, I think just because I've played it on the computer already, like I'll be satisfied with that one being a PC only game for me. I could probably say the same thing about Stardew Valley, but it was on sale. No, it had,
So the sales really do kill you. Like, you'll be thinking, oh, I got enough games, but I guess I'll just look in the GameStop because I don't know what else to do or something. And then they're having a good sale going on, and you're like, crap, if I don't buy this now and I buy it later, I'm going to be, like, wasting money or something.
Yeah. So,
or it's too good to pass up.
Yeah, so to give you an example, I'm not going to give away my secret, but, like, there's there is a specific store here in town that when they resell their PlayStation 4 games, they sell them for $10 regardless of title, which means if somebody took Red Dead Redemption and took it in and it gets back out on the shelf, when it hits that shelf, it's $10. It doesn't matter that it's still $49 at GameStop. They sell it for $10 regardless of the title. So the other day I went in there to check, and the selection wasn't all that great because $10 titles are going to get snatched up pretty quick. But there were some decent games, and games that I probably wouldn't have bought except for the fact that it was $10. So I picked out 3. I got, what was it, Final Fantasy Type 0 HD and Final Fantasy 15, which I should kick myself for because I've told myself over and over I will never own. In fact, when we passed by it in Target, I said, don't you dare. Because I'm so anti Final Fantasy 15.
All I did was look at it.
I know, and I was about to scold you just for looking at it. But anyway, they had those 2, and they had the Stardew Valley, which was kind of like the full edition that came with like the map, like a real map you can fold out, and the CD soundtrack. And I was like, well, I really don't care for one of these Final Fantasy games, and the Stardew Valley I already have on the computer. But when I started walking up there, the guy says, well, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm going to knock those down for you to $8 a piece. So I ended up with all 3 games for $25. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, regardless, I had to buy it. I just felt like it was too good of a...
is more backlog.
Yeah, and I felt like it was too good of a deal to pass up. Now, it was definitely not as good of a deal as the last time I went there, because I looked these games up when I got home, and they are still all around that same price. It was basically as if I had gone to GameStop and did their buy 2, get 1 free, is pretty much what it equaled out to because of the prices of what they're selling for right now. But the time I went in before, and I think I picked up the entire Uncharted series, like the collection and Uncharted 4, which those weren't 10. He had marked those down to 5. And then I picked up Diablo 3 and Skyrim Special Edition. And when I went, I was like, well, these are just $10 games. Well, I went back and later looked at GameStop, and the Skyrim Special Edition was selling for $31 at the time. The Diablo was $30-some. I was like, okay, I got a really good deal. Whether I ever play the games or not, they're there, and I got a good deal. So sales are like the bane of my... And that's really her excuse, If I say, well, you shouldn't have bought all these games. Oh, they were on sale. That's like her thing. For me, I try to use a different excuse. I'm like, well, you know what? It's good stream material. So that's we're always going to have an excuse for buying games. I don't have any plans to stop buying games in the future. Do you?
Not really.
No, we're just going to keep buying them. It doesn't matter how big that backlog gets.
Yeah, if I try to restrict myself with like, oh, I'm okay on games right now. I don't really need this game right this minute, but I'll make an exception, of course, and like I'll buy Spyro right away, even though I have tons of other games to play, even older Spyro games I wanted to play.
Well,
But yeah.
what's gonna happen is like, you know how people have these YouTube channels where and streams too, where they go back and they play retro games. The difference is that 10 years from now, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be playing retro games because 10 years from now, we'll still be catching up. So we'll be playing those for the first time, but they'll be retro to everybody else.
Hmm. And I think Game Grumps had a sub channel called the Steam Train where they just play their incredibly huge Steam library because they buy stuff on impulse.
Sure.
So it's pretty much the Steam backlog channel.
Yeah, my Steam backlog is, I think, what did I say last night? It's like 94 games.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you guys are watching the stream, there will be plenty of those games that are co-op that you'll see us playing together. We've done a few already, and I think some of the ones I bought last night are co-op as well. And
Right now we're looking into 9 Parchments, and already most likely we'll try Garden Paws as a cute one.
oh, okay, yeah. So Garden Paws. Let me tell you guys. It sounds weird when you say the name, like Garden Paws. What is that? Okay. Well, if you could take pretty much any farming game, or especially games like Animal Crossing, because that's probably what it most reminds me of. I heard about this game. It was a Kickstarter backed project a few months ago, and I just randomly came across it. I actually streamed it on Twitch because they had a demo out, and in the demo it had a really neat feature where you could connect the game to your Twitch account, and if somebody came onto your channel and typed in your Twitch chat, their name would appear over the different NPC characters in the game. So the point of this game is, of course, you know, you've kind of, I want to say you've inherited a farm, but I don't know if that's actually what happened.
There's not really any story in it. That's kind of an issue, but
Well, there is, but since you've played it, we've been playing it in multiplayer, you don't get to read the same letters that I do from the mailbox. So there is a little bit of a story and stuff that it tells you to do, but basically you can pick from any kind of animal that they have available, which is like a bear, a cat, a fox, a bird. You can be a dragon now,
Badger.
a badger. What am I missing? There's like 8 that you can choose from. And then it has millions of different skin combinations and facial
Cute, like emoji faces.
yeah, facial expressions or whatever. So anyway, just like any farming game, you go around, you're collecting stuff like flowers, wood, rock, doing some fishing, but you also run a store. Like you have your own little store, and it can only be open from certain hours during the day. So you kind of have to make that decision. Are you going to go there and open your store that day and make money? But it has, like, you know, the town and the people, and it has the quest boards that you can do, the daily quests. You can raise chickens and other animals. You can tame wild animals. And they're recently adding in a museum. So it's going to be a lot like Animal Crossing, where when you find things, you bring it to the museum to put them on display. And the whole thing is I found this game, brought it to her attention, and we were both like, how have we never heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
And we played the demo, and it was really, really cute. And then it came out officially like just before Christmas, I think. And so I went ahead and got us copies of it, and we played some co-op on it, and we had a lot of fun. It's super cute, and we actually played it again the other day, but more than likely you'll see us streaming that one as well. And that one's fun just because you guys can actually come in the chat, talk to us, or whatever you do, and it'll put you in the game on our screen. Like, you don't have any control over it, what happens, but like the little characters that come up and buy things from your shop and stuff like that, it'll put your name over those characters who are coming into the shop. It's really neat.
At least there's like a little bit of integration like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and once they finished integrating the fishing and all that kind of stuff, it honestly it became really fun to play. But I will warn you ahead of time that the game is relaxing. The game is so chill, and the music in it is so chill that you will probably go to sleep after playing it. It's not that the game is boring; it's just that that's the atmosphere that it has.
Yeah, because we love these type of games, just like crafting, farming, owning a simple shop, cute animals, upgrading and helping a town grow and stuff. I love all that kind of stuff. But since it's so relaxing with like the day-to-day activities and stuff, after we were playing it for like 2 hours the other day, I want to play more, but I'm sleepy.
And it is from what I saw, from what I remember, it is coming to some consoles. I want to say it's coming to Switch and Xbox One, I think. But if you guys want to find out or check out anything about that game, you can look it up. It's on Steam. It's relatively cheap. It's like $19. It's called Garden Paws, like, you know, garden at your house, and paws like animal has paws. So Garden Paws, and if you're into those farming games and stuff, if you know whether it's Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon or Animal Crossing or all of the above, it's kind of a good mix of all those.
And ever since they released, they've almost done like a patch adding something or fixing something just about every day,
Yeah, it seems like there.
or at least once a week.
Yeah, there was definitely a day one patch, and funny story. We did play it on day one, or either day one or day two, when there was only like 20 people playing the game. And it allows you to create your own world for multiplayer so that you can have up to 4 players, but you know, we set it for 2, and obviously just for me and her. And as we were playing it, all of a sudden a third person popped in, and I was like, okay, and kicked them out. And then another time I wasn't paying attention, a third person popped in, and she goes, "Hey, somebody just popped in on the world," like, and I'm like, "I don't get it. I have it set to 2," so I kicked them out too. Well, the next day I saw there was a patch and an update, and I was reading through, and apparently the creators the creators of the game were going around joining people's world to talk to them and ask them what they liked about the game, and if there were things
So bad.
and if there were things that needed to be fixed, or you know, anything noticeable or whatnot. And so yeah, we essentially were playing the game, and we kicked a couple of the creators off of our
They need to have a special tag next to their name so we know it's them.
yeah, or at least it should have just made it to where when you try to kick them, it says this person cannot be kicked, you know. So I feel bad, and I do apologize to the creators, but you have made a lovely game. We did enjoy it, and we were enjoying it so much. In fact, we only wanted it to ourselves, which is why we didn't want a third person in there. So,
If they find this somehow, I'm still so sorry.
now I'm still, even though that game is great, I am still looking forward to Re-Legend, and that's one. That's that's one that more people have probably heard about. But I will tell you this: this will be a great game for you to play until Re-Legend comes out, because they're similar in a lot of ways without being identical clones. But Re-Legend, come on,
I need some info.
let's go. It was supposed to be last year, and then got pushed, and then come on, you can do it. We need that game.
So, I guess since Religion's on topic for stuff we're still kind of looking forward to, I could list like a couple of games off the top of my head, and with the help of a list of that some people are looking forward to during the year.
Sure.
If you have heard about them, you can of course comment or talk about. But what I'm going to start off with right off the bat, other than Religion, which we just did, is Animal Crossing for the Switch. I am to assume that it would be not a spin-off and just like another one right after New Leaf, which is, I think, over 4 years old by now. And no details about it have been released about it other than it's coming, and I think this year. So people are like, oh my god, what's it going to be like? Is it just going to be New Leaf Part 2? Is it going to be New Leaf and even more new stuff, which I kind of hope it is? And I wish it would come out soon, just because I really want to freaking know. But I think they're having a direct soon, so it would be nice if they were to reveal stuff about that. But yeah, Animal Crossing is very hype, and that is one I cannot wait to buy.
And
I have to get it like launch day if it comes out.
And I'm pretty sure I saw you playing 3 different versions of Animal Crossing on your birthday.
Was I?
Didn't you go get 3 birthday celebrations on Animal Crossing in 3 different towns? Or am I just... I know you did at least 2.
I got my main town that I've had ever since I bought the first New Leaf, and then the new town that I put on there since I had to transfer my system data and it lost my digital copy save, so I started over on scratch.
Right. And then when you're talking about your transfer, are you talking about your... And I'll give you a chance to brag here. Are you talking about the new 3DS that you got for Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
And what would that 3DS be?
It's the quote new 3DS XL, and it's freaking huge, and it has like a Super NES style. I keep wanting to push the buttons because they look so good.
They do. I was extremely jealous. I will say, however, shame on you, Nintendo. Shame on you for not including the power supply for those.
Yeah, that's pretty sad that they went with that decision. I heard about it some time ago, maybe last year, but they decided with like new systems, new 3DS systems, whether it's the actual quotes new ones or just, you know, a new system that you're getting for yourself, that they chose not to put in the AC adapters anymore. I mean, it wouldn't matter if someone already had the AC adapter, they'd have a backup in case wires started to get exposed, but now it's not included even if the new buyer is getting it, so they have to buy a new one that isn't included for like another $10 to $15 depending on where you're getting it.
Yes, do not order them offline. Just go to Best Buy, get you one for $9. Do not pay $30 for it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Because that is how much my mom paid for it. I am very upset about that. And she didn't want to ask anything because she, of course, sneaky surprises, and I was surprised. But I do kind of like this one too, even though it doesn't like fold in the little, you know, plug-in noobs, whatever. I can't think of words. It does fold into the gray part, the original ones. But this one is just made to the side, and that one actually fits my crowded plugs in my room that have all these systems and my iPad and my phone plugged in, so it can actually fit because it goes off to the side.
Sure. Okay. I just wanted you to brag about that. You can continue on your list.
So yeah, of course there's that. There's another Switch game I'm kind of hyped about. I can't remember the full title. It's like Remy Lore. It's like an anime-looking game, but it looks like a hacky-slashy dungeon exploring game. And it just looks like a ridiculously fun beat-em-up game where you can wield really weird weapons like a giant frozen fish or a popsicle. You do really crazy combos with different weapons and melee, and then you charge up your mana that way, which I just found out today. And you use this little lore book that she holds, the main character. And that book is pretty much in control of magic area of effect attacks, which just means, for those that don't know, it's just an attack that does a wide area of damage. So like if you have a mob of enemies coming after you, like 5 to 10 of them, you cast like a fireball or a big explosion and you get them all. So it sounds like a very fast and fluid combat game, which sounds fun, especially with the Switch, doing it on TV or... and hopefully I don't stay up until 3 a.m., but, you know, I probably would.
Yeah, knowing you.
And the next one I can think of off the top of my head without actually using the list isn't... I actually had a moment where I was excited about it because it sounded neat. I think it was released, or the first news about it was at E3. It's a game called Anthem. You're pretty much like humans that are still left behind in the world after it's gone to crap, and there's like these alienish monster things roaming around, but you've adapted and you have these superpowered tech suits and you have the ability to fly and even use those suits underwater for exploration. But some people are starting to get a bit iffy about it. I think it's BioWare. I can't remember, but it's a studio that's really praised for their storytelling. And now people are like, this just looks like a copy of Destiny. It's just a whole bunch of shooting and a whole bunch of numbers for hours with really big, meaty enemies that don't want to die. And after seeing like an example video, I have to say I'm agreeing so far. Just shooting a really, really big, meaty boss enemies until they die after 2 hours doesn't really seem like fun. But they still got a while to release, so we'll see. But that is one that some people are hyped about for originally, even if it's kind of iffy right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And one I definitely want to get, I think it comes out the end of this year though, is like called Biomutant.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the heck kind of character you are. They kind of look like a cat fox, but it's like an open world action RPG adventure type of game thing. And as you fight and gain experience and do things, you unlock new mutations, which can let you do different things. I think alter your appearance. And just in that case, it's a lot of customizable type of stuff. But like I said, it's still got a long way. Not too much news has been released about it, but it sounds interesting. And I saw a video of it at some point, and it looked still interesting. Even some people were like, hey, the Monster Hunter cats get their own gear. So that's kind of a funny way to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, I just wanted to say thank you, ESP Revolution, for the follow. They followed while you were talking about that, so there you go.
Yeah, because I can't see that. So I guess another one, which I forgot, so I have to use this list to remember, is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
You let go. You're either letting go of the button too soon or whatever. But you're cutting yourself off a lot.
Dang it! This is why I can't use push to talk usually. Yeah, the next one is Bloodstained: The Ritual of the Night, which was pretty much a spiritual successor to the classic Castlevania games, and was funded by Kickstarter or Indiegogo or one of those things, and the actual creator is doing. So yeah, a lot of people are really excited about that because they love the classic Castlevania series, and it's coming on pretty much everything: PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
Huh.
Although there's still no official release date on it yet, they are hoping for this year.
You know, here's the weird thing. I'm probably the oddball when it comes to the Castlevania series. I hated the Castlevania games for the original Nintendo. It was one of those games where you had to press up to jump instead of, B or A, and it was just awkward. It was hard, and I did not like any of them. They made 3. And then when they came out for Super Nintendo, they were a little bit better, but I still did not like them. However, the Castlevania that came out on Nintendo 64, the first one, Castlevania 64, I played it, and for some reason, I loved it. And it was still the same kind of game, except it felt more like open world, even though it wasn't. But you could walk around and do things, and it had all this jumping from 3-dimensional spots to another. And I actually played that game to finish. Now, a couple years ago, I went back and tried to play it and was like, why did I like this crappy game? But I do remember playing it at the time and really liking it. And the hardcore Castlevania fans hated Castlevania 64. And yet me, that was the only Castlevania game I liked. I guess that's kind of the same story with Harvest Moon for me, right? Mm-hmm. I'm weird like that, I guess. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. People have their favorites, and I was surprised you liked that one, but it's just because of what most people have said about it, and said it's one of the weaker things, but that doesn't mean anything. You're still allowed to like it if that's the weakest one in the series, according to a bunch of other people. But I actually wasn't a fan of Castlevania until I tried one on the DS random. And I can't for the life of me remember its name now. But you had to trace symbols in order to officially kill the boss. But it was super fun. I got the other 2 for the DS as well.
If you want, we could tell everyone how much of a fan of Zelda: A Link to the Past, or A Link Between Worlds you are.
I want to. I'm just too stupid, and it infuriates me more that people are like, oh, Nintendo, this game is too easy. I beat it in 2 days. Like, come on, beat it for.
Yeah, okay. I played A Link Between Worlds for about 20 minutes before I rage quit, and she got a little bit further than I did, and by the time she was ready to turn it off, like, she literally said, well, it doesn't matter because I'm never playing this game again. Like, she rage quit. And I felt bad. Like, I could feel her frustration. But hopefully you'll give it another chance at some point, even though I did not.
I'm gonna.
Stupid Zelda.
Well, he's absolutely too stupid to play games anymore. Anyway, one that was fairly hyped, and I'm actually kind of curious about, even though I'll probably end up not getting it because it's yet another Dark Souls-inspired game, and I'm getting kind of tired of seeing everything compared to Dark Souls, but that usually means very difficult. But Code Vein is kind of like Dark Souls, and with a dark whatever storyline, but instead it's kind of like anime themed. So if you don't like the serious-ish graphics, maybe want a bit more fantastical or anime exaggerations, you might like this one more.
No.
Not to say if it's harder or the same difficulty or even easier than Dark Souls, but I'm still kind of watching it here and there.
Now, what were the ones you just got? It wasn't Dark Souls, it was Darksiders, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got Dark Souls. Dang it, Darksiders War Master Edition, and then Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, or what?
Okay.
Because I am still interested about Darksiders 3, where Fury is the main protagonist. And I have Darksiders 1 on the PlayStation 3, but I feel like since I'm moving so much toward the PlayStation 4, I might as well get the, quote, War Mastered Edition and see if there's any changes that'll make it more doable for me, which probably not. I sucked at that game, too. I know of another one that I actually read an article of in the Game Informer magazine for a while called Days Gone. And it's another zombie survival game, but apparently the main thing that sets it apart is the main character gets a motorcycle, which for some reason is a big deal. I'm not saying this is trying to be sarcastic, but apparently it's a big deal because it focuses on realism, because you have to ride the motorcycle correctly to not break it. You have to do maintenance however you can in this crappy world and still fill it up with gas and stuff. So if you lose your motorcycle, you apparently lose like a part of you, and it's going to be super hard to continue after that.
Sure. And I remember when I went into GameStop to buy my PS4, and the guy was like, well, is there any games you want to pre-order? And I said, yeah, just Red Dead Redemption 2. And he was like, oh man, you gotta check out this game. And that's the game that he was showing me, and it was in that month's Game Informer, and he was like trying to convince me, and I was like, dude, I don't like survival games. I don't like zombie games. I'm just tired of zombie themed games. I'm tired. And he was really he was like, oh man, but this one's different. Maybe, but I mean, you're going to get me. I'll end up playing it about as much as I'll end up actually downloading Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad game. It doesn't look like it would be a badly made game or anything. But it does sound like that the only thing that makes it different from other zombie games is you get a motorcycle to take care of.
Whoop-de-doo. I mean, look, it could be an actual great game, but it's just not my targeted interest, I guess. Which is weird because I have a wide variety of random interests. But that is one thing I notice is I can look at my game collection on the wall, and I do not own a zombie-themed game at all. And I did have Resident Evil on the computer, and like the HD remakes, and I actually did a stream where I played it for about 25 minutes before I rage quit. You can actually look that up on YouTube. It's called Best Zombie Killer in the World, where I actually walk in and get killed by the very first zombie that I came across because I could not figure out how to fire my weapon correctly. And and it wasn't one of those ones where you're supposed to die. It was the game over screen. So I'm just not a fan. And they're not scary. That kind of stuff doesn't scare me. So I don't get the thrill of playing that game that people who are a fan of that genre would.
Yeah, I guess it might be like their version of how much I like beat 'em up games, but I usually like more fantasy themes instead of realism.
Sure.
When I can. So I mean, we're almost out of time. Is there anything that you would want to add?
Not really, except for that, hey, we're back in. Hopefully we'll stay consistent with being back every Tuesday. we should be getting some new special guests this year. Last year we had Ellen and Joe, and it was both fantastic guests, fantastic shows. And but they might not always be celebrities. We might find somebody who's a, somewhat popular Twitch streamer. I've been trying to get XBlotter to come on the show. The guy that is a Teemo, one trick pony on League of Legends, to just come on and talk, because there's so much about a Teemo player that you could learn about, because Teemo is like one of the most hated characters in the game by the opponents. And this guy actually, he will only play Teemo. So if Teemo gets banned, he will quit the game, log into another account, and pick Teemo on that account. So he only plays Teemo, and I'm sure he has lots of stuff he could talk about. But also, we may have some people on that might have some stuff to talk about. Like I have a guy that does a bunch of like comic conventions and things like that I'm sure he would like to come on and talk about some of his upcoming things or whatever. But hopefully we'll have some entertaining guests is the point. But other than that, just keep an eye out. I know I'm going to eventually be back to streaming. I've got some filming stuff to do, but I'm going to be back to streaming. And as we mentioned earlier, I have a ton of new stream material. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And what about yourself? You're going to do any new YouTube videos or anything?
YouTube videos?
Yeah.
You're funny.
Come on. Come on.
My headset is pretty much disagreeing with you too.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to get you a new microphone for sure. Through this entire one, I could definitely tell that it's getting really staticky. But anyway, so out of all the games you got in the last month or so, which one are you looking forward to cracking open and getting into? I said, out of all the games you got in the last month, which one are you looking forward to cracking open and getting around to playing?
Oh.
And don't say Octopath Traveler, because I don't have it and you're not allowed to say it.
Well, darn. I am actually curious to try Penny Punching Princess, because that looks like a very quirky, silly game. Yeah,
it looks like your kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with you getting games like that is a week later, I'll say, hey, I picked up Penny Punching Princess. You'll be like, why? And I'll be like, 'cause you have it.
But it's like, I thought you have your own interests. You don't have to copy me.
I know, but every time when I go,
apparently I know the good games, huh?
Mm-hmm, every time when I come over and you bust out your game collection for me to look at, and it's like, oh wow, she picked out this game, and these are games I wouldn't have thought about, and then I end up playing them and kind of liking them. I don't really think there's been a game like that you've recommended that I haven't liked. So even without playing it or even seeing you play it, when you bought the .hack GU last recode, that's what I did the other day. I was like, oh, she has this game, so I'm gonna get it too. Out of all the games I could have picked out, I picked one just because I just watched you buy it. Didn't even see you play it, just watched you buy it. Anyway.
And then we both find out we hate it.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, at least we got the physical copies and we can always trade them in.
Yeah.
And technically, because of my GameStop points, that game was free. I did not pay for it. So if I do have to take it back or trade it in, even if I only get $1 for it, it's $1 more than what I paid for it.
Yeah, I'm not... Speaking of the GameStop, though, thing real quick, I guess, is that I hope we'll still have that kind of store to trade in, because we don't have, like, other shops like you do here. We pretty much just have GameStop and Best Buy for the most variety of games. Target's okay, but not really a lot.
Well, the funny...
But, I just mean, like, for trade-ins, because I would usually save up the games that if I actually did do pretty good at going through ones, like, yeah, I think I'm good, I don't want to play this again, and then I'll put it in like a trade-in pile, and then I'll wait until I get a lot of trade-in credit days, like, 50% extra trade-in credit, then I'll put them in. But since they might get bought out, I'm not sure if that means they're going to go away or they'll improve because they're getting more financial help.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I thought it was really weird because you know, obviously you guys just have the one GameStop. And when I was looking up stuff online to use gift cards on, it reminded me that not only do we have, you know, 2 or 3 places here that sell used games, plus several pawn shops and everything else, we actually have 4 GameStops. We have 4 GameStops in my town, like all within 10 minutes of each other.
Dang.
So, you know, if one GameStop doesn't have it, you just drive to the other one and then to the other one to the other one. But yeah, there's 4 GameStops within 10 miles of me. So pretty.
Our mall's gonna be like so pointless and dead, and that Old Navy's moving to the King's Mall, the strip mall.
Oh.
So that one's gonna be alive and the other one's gonna die.
Oh, Lordy.
And it's smaller.
Well, I guess, you know, if you have a smaller mall, it looks like there's more people in it when there's, like, if you take the same amount of people that are in a big mall and shove them into a small mall, the small mall looks full.
I guess, like the King's Mall, the one where the hippie store is in, that I look at, the only hippie store we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like by Olive Garden and like a mobile thing, and they have like Home Goods or something like that.
Right, they're moving to
it. I guess moving there.
Yeah, they're moving to a strip mall is what they're doing. Well, the funny thing to me is that, honestly, for you guys' mall, your actual mall, if it wasn't for Target, it probably would close a long time ago, because Target seems to be always slam packed over there, but the rest of the mall dead.
Yeah, I mean, as long as like the other stores could somehow like survive enough to just relocate, like don't completely get rid of Hot Topic. Online shopping is okay, but since I get clothes there, I need to try them on. And I'm not gonna buy it online to try it on and then freaking return it because it's not right. That's a same thing with like any kind of clothes store like that, or some things I just need to see in person and touch it or stretch it, something.
Like socks.
I don't know. I'm weird.
Yeah.
Touch.
Going in, stretching out all the socks, and then when people go to try them on and they won't stay up because somebody stretched them all out.
They're too freaking tight anyway. You need your circulation, dang it. I forgot my point. What was I saying?
Something about GameStop closing down and not getting to use your stuff.
Oh yeah, I hope that even if the mall, like, you know, that has nothing but the movie theater, which might seem pointless because they're reworking it to a different branded movie theater. Even though there's like nothing else there. Even their so-called food court has only pizza and Chinese food available. That's it.
But on the positive side, it is Savona's.
I guess. And it's like the 2 most popular things that people eat, but still, only 2 options is still pretty lame for a food court.
Mm-hmm.
I keep losing my freaking place. I need caffeine.
So,
okay, I got it. Then I'm done. I'm making this last too long. Okay, so if the mall does go under, I hope the other stores survive enough, like Hot Topic just relocates and GameStop can find somewhere else, or I'll just have to go to freaking New Paltz to that one, I guess. Where Tops is now looking Tops because I'm a loser and do grocery stores for fun. And if that mall goes down, it would be awesome if they made that entire thing a super Target, because holy crap, visiting my sister in Minnesota with a super Target, it's like giant anime sparkle eyes for a grocery store junkie like me.
Yeah. And if you go to Tops, on sound advice, do not buy the Tootsie Roll flavored hot chocolate.
Yeah. I still have to try it with water to see if it actually tastes like something, but with milk it just tastes vanilla-y mostly.
And on that note, we'll call it a day. But we did run a little bit over, but that's okay because it's the first one of the year and we're allowed to do that. So
it's our podcast. We do whatever we want, man.
That's right. We can go for another. That's it. We're going till 5 now. So, no. Anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thanks for the follow, and to those of you that are listening, whether you listen to it live right now or you're listening to it live later on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, we do appreciate it, and hopefully you will join us again next Tuesday where we will talk about, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We have to get in the habit of planning again.
We don't plan these things out. We just get on here and chat. That's all. From now on, this is the Titan and Gravehonor's chat line.
Okay.
All right. Well, you guys have a good one, and hopefully we'll see you the next time around.
Goodbye.